Pop the little comment section over. I try to limit while we go.
What's up, everybody? This is the Uncanny Omar. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight to do a breakdown of the Marvel's Loki TV show. And with me is this lovely lady to my right. And who are you, lady?
I am Odefell. I'm a cosplayer and a comic geek, and I every now and then poke up on this channel, mostly for Matt, my ex.
Yeah, she loves X-Men, but also loves the MCU.
Yes.
So, by the way, I'm going to go ahead and just lay it out there. We're going to be talking about spoilers. So, if you haven't seen any of Loki, maybe go and watch it, especially that ending, because we are going to be talking about the ending and what it means for the MCU. So, just in case, again, spoilers. Hope everybody has already seen it, or if you don't care. If you don't care, I get it. Maybe. I don't know. I like to be surprised. So, hope all is good. What's up? Just finished watching the episode. Just in time, Roy. Hey, Tom. How's it going? What's up, Joe? So where can people find you really quick? And then we go ahead and get
I am on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, pretty much everything under this username. Twitter, it is a 0 instead of an O, but I mean, you can pretty much search Odefell and I'll pop up on most social media. I try to kind of have a presence everywhere, but Instagram has most of the cool stuff if that's what you're looking for.
There you go. That's where you can find this lady. So, again, spoilers. Good. What's up? Hey, Carly. Haven't seen you for a while. Good to see you here. There's my buddy, Leo. I'm so glad that you watched all of it, Leo. So now we can talk about it. Did Odefell change her hair color? I haven't noticed.
I did.
Have you?
I dyed it back to orange from purple. So.
What's up, Dean? How you doing? Jean Grey. That's Lilu, man. What's Lilu?
It's the Bob.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what you decide to cosplay from this particular show. What's up, Miguel? How you doing, brother? All right. So let's talk about Loki as a TV show. We're just going to break it down. I mean, the premise of it is pretty simple, right? The last time we saw Loki, again, spoilers. So, you know what? Just in case somebody just comes in, I'm just going to spoilers. There we go. Now we're safe. So the last time we saw Loki, he got killed at the beginning of the Infinity War movie. Loki neck snapped. Right, he was trying to double-cross Thanos. Thanos was like, nah, not today. Kills Loki. Loki dies. However, in Endgame, we see that Loki ends up where the Avengers travel back in time to the original Avengers movie, and we see Loki pick up the Tesseract, and that particular Loki escapes. So awesome. So this is the next time we see Loki. So after Avengers Endgame, we knew that he was going to show up somewhere. And they announced a TV show. What's up, Maya? It's my little cousin. How you doing, Maya? I hope you're doing well tonight. Shut up, Michael. What do you mean? You're going to buy his ice cream? Spoilers. So,
I mean, I'll take a milkshake.
I'm not buying anybody anything. All right. So let's go back to this. So what ends up really happening is that Loki gets pulled from his timeline by the TVA. And Odefell, TVA, where's your little mug at? Can you explain what the TVA is? So I'm not doing all the talking.
We've got a rep. So the Time Variance Authority shows up, and they're pretty much this kind of organization that makes sure that everything stays on the main timeline and there's no branch realities. And we get a good, decent time with them in the first and second episodes where they kind of set this neat retro future feeling setting for it. And I also, just to note, the soundtrack being theremin and kind of all the retro sci-fi sounds probably made it one of my favorite soundtracks in the MCU. But yeah, we get to see all these people. We get to meet Mobius, who ends up kind of being an ally, but he's still working with the TVA, so it's kind of this back and forth between Loki and Mobius on whether or not they're friends or not. He's interviewing him, and Loki sees his whole timeline clear through the end, and he kind of takes a step back. And that's really when we start getting new character development from Loki, because at this point, we've regressed to a still pretty villainous Loki at the end of Avengers. So him seeing his own death is what's kind of starting to develop this one on a different path. I don't know if you want to pick up from
No,
there.
that's great. So then we're introduced to the concept of something called variants. And it's funny. I love the idea of using variants, right? Because in the comic book world, a variant of an issue is a different cover, usually worth more money. So we're introduced to the concept of variants from different multi-dimensions. Yes, my wife just got it. Yes. Anyway, so with these variants, they're different Loki variants, particularly one that is kind of a murderous Loki variant that's a renegade that they're after. So with his help, they're trying to catch this particular Loki variant. And throughout the series, it's only 6 episodes long, we get to learn that the Loki variant really isn't that evil. The Loki variant is actually somebody, it's a Loki from another timeline that got plucked from their timeline and didn't get to live their life. And who is this variant?
So we meet her, and I'm a little bummed because I thought they were setting up for Enchantress, but we get to meet her, and her name is Sylvie. She doesn't really go by Loki, but she was plucked from her timeline as a child and ended up being on the run, and through a series of like detective work by Mobius and Loki, they find out she was able to hide from the TVA by going to Nexus events where apocalypses would happen. And through that, we get a little bit of exposition with Loki and Sylvie as they're stuck in a Nexus event, and we start to kind of get a glimpse of who she really is and who this Loki really is.
That's right. And in the most narcissistic kind of way, he kind of starts falling for her. Like, he's kind of crushing on her. Even though it's him from another timeline, but a female version. And I totally get it. I'd be digging me from another dimension too. That, just saying.
Of all characters, Loki falling for himself makes the most sense.
Right, especially when you go with the, the comic book version, or actually the actual version of the character of Loki that has had, quite a experience with different things, not just ladies or dudes. Just saying. But we also get to see a bunch of variants throughout this. It's not just her, right? We get to see probably one of the greatest classic variants. I'm so glad they did this. So in episode 5, it's revealed that this trinity of characters that were supposed to be behind the TVA, that are the main reason the TVA exists, aren't really anything. Like, they're just androids or something. Somebody else is behind this. And then Loki gets, what's the word that they used?
Pruned.
Yeah. And, we're led to believe that he's going to cease to exist. And however, he gets thrown into this particular dimension where there's a bunch of Loki variants hanging around. And we have Kid Loki, we have Alligator Loki, and my favorite, Classic Loki. This guy, Richard Grant, I think, right?
Yeah, no, he absolutely killed it too.
Killed it. In episode 5 is my favorite. And then, of course, I think this became an instant fan favorite.
Oh, Loki.
Yeah, I don't, whatever. I will say that this show did crack me up, though. Like, I didn't see that coming whenever he bit off President Loki's hand, and President Loki started screaming because they were like, "Well, you got an alligator," and all together they were like, "Yeah, it's one of us, one of our variants." I thought that was funny. So
I'm rooting for it. I want them to drop every single toy of Alligator Loki that's ever existed. Like, I need them.
Crocodile Loki. I like that. So that ending at the end of episode 5, we first of all we see the big, like, seriously, this classic Loki for the 10 minutes that he was throughout the whole series stole the show. He was phenomenal. Brought out like the Broadway actor in him. I don't know. This guy was just killer. Man, he's been in Game of Thrones and other shows, but in this, I don't know. I loved it. So in this particular dimension, they're fighting a big, giant, smoky creature. We don't know exactly what it is yet. Oddfell, did you have any idea what it was? Well, you've read the comics, though, right?
Yeah, I haven't read a whole lot dealing with. I can't even remember its name. It's escaping me right now.
The
But I had to.
Alioth.
Yeah, it's like yeah, Alioth or something along that line.
Mhm.
I had to look into it a little bit after episode 5, but they do kind of expand upon it in episode 6 that it is just essentially a dark entity that can eat time and space, and that's kind of why it's just chilling at the end of the timeline.
It,
Um,
it's definitely something I did not see popping up in, these shows really tend to surprise me because I think it comes from like a really, what was it? Was it Avengers West Coast? It's this creature right here. That's the way it looks like in the comics. And it looks very similar in the TV show.
yeah,
It
I
might
kind
have come
of
from
like
the
the puppy
miniseries.
skull though. The addition of like the kind of like dog-like skull was pretty dope.
Yeah.
Instead of just the smoke face.
So you're right, Leo. Rest in peace, classic Loki. The guy went out like a pimp, though.
Yeah.
He was awesome. It's the nothing from the never-ending story. Stop it, Philip. It looks suspiciously like the demon bear to me when I first saw it, but I knew it couldn't be related. Or maybe by the end of this season, it very well could be. Dean, that's what I was trying to remember. Dean's asking which comic does Alioth mention. I think it's an Avengers West Coast series or a mini series. That's all I remember. It's just a random character that was thrown in there. Loved it though. I like when they throw in little no names like that. So yeah, they defeat this creature and they realize, or I'm sorry, she realizes that hey, it's not, this isn't the end boss. There's something else behind this. Something else is controlling Alioth. So after defeating this, it opens up a portal to this house, if you will, castle, the end of time castle, which is where episode 6 takes place. Mobius gets pushed back into his TVA place to go and try to fix all that, while Loki, both Lokis, go and see who is really behind this. And one of the things, what's that?
He who remains.
He who remains. Thank you. And one of the things I didn't even notice until this episode was, let me see if I can find her picture. What was the little cartoon character's name? Do you remember?
Miss Minutes.
What? I'm sorry, Miss Minutes?
Miss Minutes, yeah.
Thank you. That was Tara Strong.
I know. I did not realize that. And then I saw
didn't either until I saw this episode.
Yeah. Her name popped up, and I had to look up who she was, and I was like, crap, she was Miss Minutes this whole time.
Yeah. Who was, it kind of reminded me of this retro cartoon look, which they do the same kind of thing in something like, oh my gosh, what is the video game series with the Pip Boy?
Fallout.
Fallout, thank you. So, yes, they do something similar like that. It's got this creepy, eerie feel to it. It's a retro look. So you don't know, like, false sense of security for sure.
Yeah, and I think the thing I like about the TVA the most is it really feels like retro futurism. Like, it feels like if you put an orange filter over the Jetsons. Like, it feels like 1950s future more than it feels like futuristic future. And I think that's what I like about it, because it makes it a little bit like something's not quite right here, while also being kind of comforting because it's like nostalgic. So it's got this really cool blend, and I think Miss Minutes is really in that too, because she's a hologram, but she's very like retro cartoon.
Yeah, and I like that. And honestly, I forgot about her character up until the 6th episode where she shows up, and I was like, oh my gosh, this bitch done be evil.
She's scary. When she pops up, they straight up jump scared with her. I was like,
well, because I completely forgot about the character. I thought she was hanging out with the TVA, and of course, she's the one that knows who's behind everything. And as it turns out, again, big spoilers down there, but just in case you're just joining and can't read, Odfell, who is hiding behind the desk, who is behind everything, behind the TVA.
We don't actually ever get a name, which frustrates me a little bit.
Right.
I can pretty certainly with my whole chest say that we get Ken. Because we get this kind of dramatic, somewhat whimsical scene of him explaining how there was this multiversal war with him and himself, where it started out with like everyone building their timelines with technology from other timelines because he was a scientist, but then some of them were conquerors and some of them were kings and some of them were jerks. And, you know, I feel like with comic knowledge, it is some version of Kang. It is not Kang the Conqueror that we get in this episode, though. That's what he's warning us about. So it is some variant of him that is trying to do right. Honestly, it probably is a Mortis, or a Mortis adjacent variant, because he seems like he's trying to help, but he's still the one in control.
I will say it's interesting, the way that he started talking. I didn't catch it until the second time around. So this particular character, Kang, we're just going to call him Kang for right now. We don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure it's him. It's the same actor that's going to play him in the Ant-Man and Wasp Go Rescue the Quantum Rangers. I don't know what it's something called like that. Quantum Force something.
Mania, I think.
Quantum Mania. Thank you. So we'll just call him Kang for the sake of this episode, not confusing. Yeah. And then we'll talk about the confusing parts here in a little bit. But this particular character, the thing that I noticed the second time around, you know, he's referring to himself in the third person, talking about, you know, how in his timeline, the 31st century, he discovered, or the Kang, the original Kang, discovered different multiverses, if you will. And eventually all the Kangs from different multiverses discovered each other, which led to a time of peace. And then eventually, because they want to take over and conquer things, led to the, what was it called? The multiverse war or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. I think you just did call it Multiverse War.
Right. So the whole time he's talking about this variant in like the third person, like this is what he did. This is who he was in the 31st century. And then he kind of changes the narrative a little bit in his speech. He starts saying I. So he starts saying I when he starts talking about Alioth coming over here and kind of coming to this particular time or dimension and controlling Alioth. So I noticed that it might be the original variant, or it could be a variant that I don't know, because he shows up as kind of a whimsical kind of character, not the Kang from the comics, which I don't expect, but you know, it's a little bit different. So what are the two choices that he gives these two characters, Oldfell? Because this is where he gets interesting and
yes. And briefly aside, I feel like he's probably much like Sylvie, where they've just been around so long that they have their own identity, which is why when someone in chat said Immortus, I was like, very well, this could be like the Immortus variant that like takes a different name and is like, I am no longer of this, as opposed to like a Kang the Conqueror. Mm-hmm. But no, so he sits them down. He's like, you have two options. You kill me, and then I come back so much worse. Hundreds of me could come back. So much worse. He said, we don't hundreds. Know. Yeah, I think he says something along the lines of like, dictators suck, but when you kill the dictator, be afraid of what takes its place. Like something along that line of like, it could be way worse. Or I step back because I've been doing this for millennia and you guys lead the TVA. And this is where we start to get a schism between the Lokis, essentially, because Sylvie thinks that Loki wants the throne, the TVA, but she wants to kill him because that's the revenge spree that she's wanted this entire time, right?
Right. This person symbolizes everything that, you know, he's taken her life.
Yeah.
What she doesn't know, and she does find out, is that Loki just wants her. He wants to be happy with her. They have a nice little moment. They make out. And then, yeah, she kind of pulls a Loki on him.
Yeah.
And decides to go after Kang.
And it's this really cool scene, too, because everything kind of like falls into place, and then Kang catches up with his knowledge to the end of time. And then at that point, he like takes off his little wristband thing and just slides it on the table. And that's later how Sylvie essentially betrays Loki and sends him back to the TVA.
Yeah. So she does exactly what she wanted to do. And exactly what Kang wanted to do, because the whole time Kang has the script. He knows how it's going to play out. And she still kills him. But with his dying breath, he says, "See you soon."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm assuming this is hinting to the variants that are going to be coming. Then you see a shot at the window. You see like the end of time and timelines are branching like we haven't seen before. It's okay. What does that mean? We'll get to that here in a second. But before that, we get to the very, very end, which is what I like to call the Planet of the Apes kind of ending, where Loki shows up, right? He sees Mobius, and I cannot remember the hunter's code or name.
Hunter B-15, I believe. I could have the number wrong, but I think it's B-15.
It's impressive if you got that right. So he sees both of them, and he recognizes Mobius, right? Like, hey, we're buddies, we're friends. Holy crap, guys, we messed up. We met this dude that was sitting behind a desk. He's kind of crazy and whimsical, and I think we made a mistake. There's a bunch of variants. Big bads are coming. A bunch of bads are coming. And of course, Mobius in this type of ending says, wait, who are you? Don't you work for accounting or something? And then, of course, Loki's confused, and then his brain, you can see the gears turning. Acting. He's like, wait a minute, something's not right here. So he looks at the statue. There was a set of 3 statues in the same shot earlier in like episode 1 or 2, I can't remember, where it was like the 3 people the reptile people that we thought were behind the TVA. But this time, when he looks at the statue, we see this. Now
look at that comic suit.
Yes, I got excited about that too. That is a comic accurate costume. Not so much so the helmet, but hey, you know what? We're going to let some things fly. But that is Kang the Conqueror in statue form. Meaning that he's in a different timeline, or this particular timeline. I'm sorry, I keep saying timelines. Dimension has been changed because of what she did. And that's where it ends. And then at the very end, after the credits, we get the, hey, Loki's coming back in season 2. So that's Loki in a nutshell. And here in a minute, we're going to be talking about our thoughts about what could season 2 be, what it means for the MCU. But we're going to get the chat involved. And if you're enjoying this, please don't forget to hit that like button. So initial thoughts, Old Phil. What did you think about the series as a whole? All 6 episodes, about 46 to 56 minutes long each. What did you think of the episodes as a whole, of the series?
I really wanted to like them a lot more than I did. Like, if you told me I would have been more invested in Falcon and Winter Soldier than Loki last year, I would have called BS. But for some reason, these episodes, I wasn't hungering to see them. Like, Wednesday would come around, I'd be like, I'll get to it. I'll get to it eventually. And it really didn't hook me. I got a little more invested after episode 4, but still this whole time I've kind of just been like, it's decent. It's probably 3 out of 3 as far as the Marvel shows go that have released so far. But overall, I still really enjoyed it. I think the visuals and the soundtracks for a lot of the stuff was absolutely killer. The plot really didn't grab me too much, but I'm excited for what the plot set up for the future.
Okay. To me, I like this more than I did Falcon Winter Soldier. I wasn't the biggest fan of Falcon Winter Soldier. To me, Falcon Winter Soldier felt like run-of-the-mill type of superhero show, but that's a different thing. And I honestly, I didn't know what to expect from this show. Going into it, I thought it was going to be fun. I expected something like Quantum Leap meets X-Files, but that's not what we got at all, right? From the trailer, I got the idea, he's going to be traveling through different timelines, and he's absolutely going to restore time. That's what this show is going to be about, and it's not. It's basically him trying to get rid of the different variants and fight and trying to figure out who this one variant is, and then falling in love with himself. So, saying that, I also went into this with the first episode, and I was a little disappointed in the treatment of Loki, like the character, because I'm used to Loki being smart and scheming and always planning something ahead of time, which I appreciate villains like that. And I didn't get that in the first episode. So much like you, what I did was I binge watched episodes 2, 3, and 4 because I had stopped watching it, and then I got so excited because episode 4 was awesome. And awesome, one of the coolest cliffhangers, the variants cliffhanger of that. Oh my gosh, I was like, what does this mean? It's like the same shot in Avengers when he's looking up at them when he's like, I'll take that drink now. I love that. Love it. Perfect ending.
Yeah, that's where I got hooked as well, because I was kind of still like, okay. And then at that point, I was like, okay, now I'm invested. I really liked Mobius. I would say Mobius is probably my favorite character that they put out in this
He was
show.
fun.
Yeah, I really enjoyed him, and I hope we get a lot more of him in season 2.
Can you give a shout out to Nick Gurr, please? This is his birthday. I'm sure it'll mean more to him if you shout out than me.
Oh. Well, happy birthday to Nick. I hope you have a good day, even though it's evening now. I hope it was a fun day.
I hope Nick is 21 and he's like, "Hey, what are you talking about, lady? Night's just started, man. I'm going out and drinking." Yeah. I hope that's what kind of day you're having. But the same thing happened throughout the whole series. Like, I expected Loki to be smarter than he was. So it tricked me so much that in episode 6, I really thought he was going to be the one that betrays Sylvie. Like, either kill her and then take the role of Kang. Because that's the Loki that I kind of see always scheming, always planning. But they didn't. He was kind of an idiot the whole way through. He was really in love with her. Which does make a lot of us idiots. I get it.
That's also kind of one of my gripes. Like, part of me is like, it makes sense. Loki would fall in love with himself. And part of me is also like, we got this non-changing character that pretty much was Loki's catalyst for character development, and it came off very like Ramona Flowers, Manic Pixie Dream Girl in a way that kind of frustrated me about Sylvie, because I wanted a little more from her, but it kind of felt like everything she did was just to push Loki to be more in love with her, and it kind of frustrated me at several times during the show. So I was a little bummed out that they ended up together, because I was like, okay, of course, morally gray man changes because woman, but that's just a trope that I know drives me.
No, changes because of herself.
Yeah, himself.
That's
I was a little frustrated with that, just because it's one of those tropes I see a whole bunch, but I still think they pulled it off decently well. It's just not really what I wanted to see for Loki.
And episode 4 and 5, by far, like, some of the best MCU I've seen in television. I loved it. It was great. Episode 6, to me, felt a little slow and a little dull. Like, my wife was making fun of the whole scene where they're all sitting down and talking, and I thought, yeah, they talked for about 10 to 15 minutes explaining the plan. Not a lot of action, not a lot of things happen. Not even in the TVA part of the story does anything happen. Nothing big that I was kind of expecting. Not that I expect an end fight for everything, but it would have been nice to throw something in there.
It didn't feel like a finale.
No, it kind of just ended. But like I said, it ended with that Planet of the Apes ending that I'm sure everybody's going to be talking about, and which we will too here in a little bit. I like the even though it was a really cheap throwaway kind of explanation as to why Loki took the Tesseract, why the variants are all bad and things like that. I kind of like that explanation a little bit, but I don't know. It just didn't feel. When you have a character like Loki, maybe I expect it to be a little smarter than what I got out of it.
Yeah. I liked his dynamic with Mobius far more, because it felt like they were constantly challenging each other and outfoxing each other. Where with Sylvie, it constantly felt like he was somehow overshadowed by this character we've never really met, and we're supposed to just go, yeah, she's better. And that was one of kind of my gripes, especially when it came to the romance thing. Like, we get this scene where he's like, yeah, no, I'm bi. And he has all this great chemistry with other characters, and then somehow ends up with Sylvie. And I'm like, I've never felt chemistry with them personally. So I was a little bit like... They shared
a blanket.
They shared a blanket. But I don't know, like, something about just the dynamic with him and Sylvie. He felt kind of like the idiot sidekick cop, where she was like the bad cop. I don't know. It was kind of weird.
It seemed like it was more of her show too, like especially in episodes 4 and 5. Like, she stole the show. She grew on me. At first, I was like, I don't want to like this female version of Loki, but yeah, I was excited. But the other thing I didn't like, and maybe it's just being harsh. I don't know how I feel about it yet. I've watched it twice. But Jonathan Majors is a great actor. He was the guy in Lovecraft Country, playing Kang the Conqueror. That's what we're calling him for now. As soon as I saw him, I said in my head, I was like, oh no. This guy's going to be another zany, wacky version of all these villains that we know and love from the comic books. And I think I just got grown. I've grown tired of that kind of twist on these characters. I'm tired of seeing these zany, wacky takes on, these classic villains. Sometimes it's okay to have a one-dimensional villain. But I guess it makes sense. I was talking to my brother. He was like, it makes sense. He's been by himself all these years, so he is going to be a little wacky, I'm sure. And like you said earlier before we started the show, it's also it very well could be the variant of Loki. I'm sorry, of Kang. It very well could be Immortus. It very well could be Nathaniel Richards. It very well could be Iron Lad. It very well could be Rama Tut. Or it very well could just be a goofy Kang that we haven't seen yet.
Yeah, I
That's exactly what she said. That's exactly what Oldfell reminded me before we started the show.
I really want like a kind of bone-chilling, hateable, scary villain. And I don't think Marvel's given us very many. I can probably list them on my fingers, and most of them get offed at the end of their movies. Like Jacket was kind of scary, Yellow Jacket was kind of scary, and then like the main bad guy from the newest Black Widow film, unredeemable. But like the fact that there's 20-something movies and I can list 3, it really has been a trope.
And even Yellow Jacket. And even Yellow Jacket had some charisma.
Yeah.
He's a little bit different than... and speaking of zany characters, I was mainly talking about like, what's his name? Ultron, for example.
Yes.
Ultron's take, which a lot of people hated. I loved. But you're right, The Collector's another one I was thinking about too. And to an extent, I don't know, Hela wasn't really... Yeah, she was okay. She was okay.
I'm really mad they killed her off. I wanted a lot more from Hela because she's one of my like favorites that I will read a book for. And I don't usually read very many Asgardian books, and I kind of feel like they need to stop just killing all their villains before they can develop. But like Thanos too, they made Thanos very, very sympathetic. Like, I feel like they either make them zany or sympathetic. So I really hope if we see him again, he's terrifying.
And there's nothing wrong with that, especially when you have a villain like Thanos carrying that movie. Because you do want to sympathize. You want to see what makes him drive. I like that. But I also like one-dimensional bad guys, right? Like, I like guys like Wentz Grant Morrison, X-Men, Magneto murdering a million people on screen. No, not really. I wasn't a fan of Morrison's take on Magneto, honestly. I know that sounds blasphemous to a lot of people, but... yeah, wasn't for me. It wasn't my Magneto. I don't know. But we'll see, right? This very well could be a variant. I had no sympathy for Thanos. All right. Favorite Easter egg. I'm
so happy that we got Throg. Listen, I rewound 3 times for that. I totally missed the Thanos copter and I had to see that on Twitter the next day, but I rewound 3 times to watch Throg.
Well, I saw something in a little jar jumping around and I was like, no, what? They put Throg in there. Oh, that's so cool. That's probably one of my favorite Easter eggs. And the Thanos copter, that was awesome. I mean... especially when you find it, like, because you were looking for that, right? Like I said, I binge watched them. So when I saw Throg, I had to rewind. I'm like, okay, I totally missed everything. Let's go and see what they put in here. I can't remember the Qatari ship names, but they were there.
Do you know, was the ship something? Because they dropped that like whole naval ship, and I'm like, I feel like this has to be something, but I wasn't sure what it was.
Oh yeah, I don't know. In episode 5 when it fights the big monster, huh?
Yeah, I was like, I feel like they showed the ship a long time and it has to be something, but I never looked into it.
I was sad to learn that the Thanos copter is in Marvel comic canon. It's not. That's why it's not in any of the Omnis.
What?
No, it's not. It's from like is it a Spidey story, I think? One of the cartoons comics. Hollywood Reporter posted Loki is expected to appear in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. That actually makes sense. Supposedly, that's right. There was the statue of the Living Tribunal. It was there too. That was a nice little. But my favorite Easter egg by far, of course, is the Throg. It was so good to see that on Now it's canon in the MCU. All right, so out of 10, what would you rate this? Or anybody that has seen all 6 episodes, the whole show, what would you all rate this out of 10? You go first.
Okay. I have to think because I don't want to be too harsh on it. I was expecting a lot more from Loki, I think. And much like how I talked about the Black Widow movie, I feel like he was outshined in his own series. So I'd probably give this one a 6 out of 10 for me. I'm excited for where it's going, but I wasn't super thrilled with the show itself.
6 out of 10. Woo! Boy, you're a lot harsher than I am. I like that.
I loved Loki. I wanted a lot more from him. I was frustrated with how dumb he was most of the season.
Okay, I will say I did not like that, or a little bit of the treatment, but I enjoyed it overall. I thought it was a fun show. Honestly, this is about an 8.5 out of 10 for me. I liked it. I really want to watch it again. And yeah, it's like the treatment of him being less schemy, less smart than I'm used to. I'm okay with that because I think the other characters kind of shine more. Like, Mobius is awesome. I love Mobius.
I kind of want to rewatch it and binge it like you did and see if it just is a better product as a whole watched kind of at once. Because when I did that with WandaVision had a really good flow too. So I want to go back and like binge it now that it's all out.
Yeah, I do want to touch upon WandaVision and what it means, and I'm just going to highlight some of the comments here. 9 from Carly. Leo gives it a 9.5. A 7 from Maximus. Yep, from Chris. 8.5 from James. 9, and the wife gives it an 8 out of 10. 9.5. It is Kang, or we're assuming it's Kang the Conqueror.
Yeah, they ask him his name and he diverts it by saying he's been a conqueror and XYZ.
Yeah.
We can allude.
Jerk, which could be Nathaniel Richards. I hate to rate things. Rate it, Michael Edmund. 9 out of 10. 8 jet skis out of 10. Love that rating. 6.5 out of 10. This gentleman agrees with you. And let's see here. 6.16. Okay. Was a bit slow, but overall good acting. But yeah, I agree with Oatville. 9 out of 10. 8 out of 10. Love it. Love all the different ratings. A lot of people really liked it. 9.5 out of 10 from my buddy Leo. 9 out of 10. 8 out of 10. Off topic. Anyone seen the new? I just saw the new Titans trailer.
It looks sick. I haven't watched any of it, but
I've seen season 1. I didn't even finish season 1, so it's not enough for me. What's up, Rafael? 6 out of 10 sounds about right. At the end, it was basically a Kang origin story. And it wasn't even like flashbacks. It was him talking. Okay, we had little graphics. 7 out of 10, my mind wasn't blown, but I never would have thought such a show could happen. Companies used to be so stingy about what could be adapted. Yeah, I agree with that. Commander Zero giving it a 9 out of 10 and just finished it. Eden Fire gives it a 5. I think that's the lowest rating we've seen so far. 6.5 out of 10 there. Well, yeah, all right. A couple people agree with Oatville here.
I feel less scathing now.
What's that?
I feel less scathing now.
Yeah. No, you're good. This is your opinion. 8.5. Elias gives it an 8 out of 10. Sarah, look at you. You're wearing Loki horns. It's mixed for me, but there's enough stuff I love and promise for the future. What a beautiful way of putting that rating at 8 out of 10. 7.4 out of 10 from Miguel. 9.3 out of 10. Thanks for them not ruining show, as I was afraid they would reveal the Loki evil variant behind it all. Thank God it didn't happen. I was a little worried about that too. Bo really liked it. 9 out of 10. Have you seen it? I think we've seen 9.5 is the closest we've seen to a perfect grade.
Yeah, I think 9.5 is the highest so far.
Omar C. the Dragon Ball shirt. Could Broly beat Thanos? Thanos without the Infinity Gauntlet? Absolutely. Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet? 4 out of 10. That's the Rib didn't like it. 7 out of 10. Good actors, good special effects. The story wasn't compelling enough for me. I see that. I think I was just I think I like the special effects and I like the variants. That was really fun for me. 6 out of 10 from Jose Fuentes and 9 out of 10. Jonathan Majors was fantastic. He was really good.
I'm just obsessed with the soundtrack. I think it's really unique. Probably one of the most unique soundtracks that they've had.
Dude, so good. I love the soundtrack.
It felt like 60s sci-fi in the best way. I was in love with it. Like, it's the theremin and all the kind of like synth. It was great.
Absolutely. 100% agree with that. So let's take the rest of the time here to talk about, our theories and what we want to see and what this could mean. Because a lot of people are wondering, what does this ending mean? What does this particular thing mean? It could mean a couple of things, right? It could mean that Loki's in a different dimension where Kang is now conqueror and he runs the TVA, or it can mean that our dimension is different now because of what she did at the end and killing Kang and taking over, meaning the variants of Kang are everywhere. So this is the really fun part of this, of this particular segment. It's talking about just like theories, and then of course what everybody else thinks too, and what we want to see. So what do you think, Oldfield? When you saw that, when you saw her kill him, what do you think the variants mean? What does it mean to you?
I definitely think we're going to see ripples in what I'm going to call the 616, even though it's not the main MCU universe. I think we are going to see some ripples, but I do prescribe to the fan theory I've been seeing floating around that the TVA might be in the... Oh my gosh, the name of it's escaping me now.
Quantum
realm.
Quantum realm.
That it might be in the quantum realm, and then in episode 5, I believe, you see Yellow Jacket's helmet, and he shrunk down past the quantum realm when he imploded. So I've seen a lot of people tying that to maybe it's outside of time and space because it's hidden in the quantum realm. So I think that, we might have a Kang the Conqueror, but it would make sense if he or his organization is hiding out in the quantum realm for him to be in Quantum Mania. So I kind of think like this might not necessarily be main universe. We might see ripples of it, but him hiding out there would make sense for him to align with the next Ant-Man and Wasp movie.
Mm-hmm. Well, really? Why? Every time. Dame un beso y anda arriba. All right. Bye. Bye, baby. So I think for me, this opens up the possibilities of a lot of different things that people are either going to hate or love. One of the things that I think this opens up the possibility to do for future Marvel movies is recasting, which this would be the easiest way to recast. If we're talking about opening up multiverses, right? Such as the rumor for the longest time about Far From Home. Is that what it's called? The third one?
No Way Home.
No Way Home. Thank you. The third Spider-Man movie has been rumored to have different characters from different Spider-Man movies. So if we are going to talk about multiverses, then we are open up to the possibility of recasting popular characters like Captain America. A different Captain America played by a different actor could come from another dimension, another multiverse, giving that loophole, which we are going to get a What If series as well.
Yes, and I saw rumors that Haley Atwell has been seen on the set for Doctor Strange and might be playing Captain Carter.
Oh, like a live-action Captain Carter.
Yes, it was on Reddit, so I don't really trust it, but it could happen based on how this episode ended.
Right. So that's what it could lead to, possibilities like that. Possibilities of recasting, which, like I said, would be the easiest loophole for Hollywood to do. I mean, Robert Downey Jr., he's in his 50s, doesn't want to play Iron Man anymore. Completely respect that. But it doesn't mean that they can pull a different Tony Stark from a different universe played by a different younger actor.
Arno.
Right? Yeah. We could get Arno Stark. We could get, different kinds of... And here's the thing that I was hoping, and very well could still do, with WandaVision. Maybe the whole Ralph Boner thing is just a red herring. Maybe that really is Quicksilver from the Fox X-Men. Because if we're talking about different multiverses, then that makes all that canon. All of that really happened. It was just happening in another dimension. And they can pull those characters through this one. And of course, all of that leading into Secret Wars, and then we'll just start over again and say, the one dimension. Could be fun. But, yeah.
Yeah, because we're also confirmed getting America Chavez soon.
She's supposed to be in Doctor Strange, right?
Mm-hmm. So yeah. I think we're really going to start seeing a whole bunch of different things. I as far as like what Black Panther is going to do, a lot of people are speculating Shuri, but I'm starting to wonder if they might do some dimensional stuff and maybe just Killmonger takes the mantle. Maybe it's like Killmonger doesn't die, because I feel like they're going to save Shuri for more of like a Young Avengers team. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. I'm like, I feel like they're not going to necessarily recast, but they might do some timey-wimey nonsense, because I feel like they're not going to give it to Shuri. I don't know. I feel like they're going to save her for some more teen young adult projects. I don't know.
I remember when Amanda and I, my co-host on this, we talked about the the possibility of recasting him. It was too soon, and they made a statement like, "No, we're not recasting him." Kevin Feige said we're not going to recast the role of T'Challa right after Chadwick died. Which, respect, that's awesome. But then some time passed, right? Not that people forget, but time passed where it's not where it stops being sensitive to talk about recasting.
Yeah, because that's one of the things is what he did was iconic, but I feel like it's almost cheating the character and cheating a whole generation of kids to just completely write out T'Challa. So I'm kind of on the fence about how I feel about it as well. And likewise, I feel like Shuri can do a lot more not being tied down to Black Panther specifically as well. So I really would like to not see her as Black Panther, because I think she could do a lot more and be on a lot more teams and team-ups and other projects if she didn't.
So that's another thing they could do, and if we're open up the multiverses, then we can get a multiverse where Killmonger became Black Panther, and we get, a proper. I think a lot of people would be happy to have Michael B. Jordan as the role of T'Challa because our Killmonger died, or as the role of Black Panther. I don't know. We can be. This really does open up a lot, but it opens up a lot of freaking confusion, right?
Yeah.
And yes, Leo knows exactly what I want to see. There's only one man that can come and save Armor Wars, baby. My man, Terrence Howard.
Just watch him come back as a totally unrelated character, and he'll just.
I don't know. He's gonna be like Ralph Boner's dad or something stupid.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I'm starting to wonder now too, like if Atlantis just appears because of this as well, because they started casting Atlanteans.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, before I was like, maybe they're just in hiding and now they decided to surface. But now I'm like, with this, what if they've now been there for centuries, but it's a ripple because of this? Like, I'm starting to get very intrigued about how things might actually like kind of fold into what is there and what is not there.
Well, one of my favorite things to do is go to the movies on opening night to watch Marvel movies with fans like us, right? Because fans like us, we feel so special whenever they throw something in there. Like when they talked about Wakanda, remember? Okoye said something about the water. So all of us that were watching it, that read comics, were like, oh, you catch that, man? Hey, yo, you caught that, right? Like all the theater that watch, like read comics, and everybody's like, yeah, man, we caught it. We got it. Right? Normal folks are like, what are y'all talking about? Later on, they read about it, and they're like, oh, Atlantis, Namor, got it. So I love that experience about going to the movie theaters with everybody. So I think they've already hinted at that. I'm sure that Atlantis is going to probably be mentioned again in Black Panther 2. And leading up to some kind of Atlantis attacks something.
Yeah, I've started to see like ambiguous casting and like a half confirmed, not confirmed Namor casting and stuff like that starting to pop up more and more frequently on Twitter. So I think something's happening.
I saw that they went with somebody Latin for Namor, which is interesting.
Yes. And I also saw like their casting call for what people are assuming are the Atlanteans are going to be like Mayan soldiers. So I think that'll be a really cool origin story for Atlantis if they take it.
Yeah, absolutely. Feige's building up a Crisis on Infinite MCU. That's the only thing I worry about is that comic book fans, I think we're looking forward to something like that. We have been looking forward to Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland playing Spider-Man in one movie. We've got Spider-Verse. And I worried about what about the average moviegoer that watches Marvel movies? Would it be too confusing? But then I forgot how well Spider-Verse did. So I think it's okay to do that. Maybe Melissa McCarthy is Hela in an alternate. No, don't joke like that, Chris Davidson. No, I can't believe that's happening.
I've created a monster by speaking it into reality.
You did. Oh man, Melissa McCartney's up there. Anyway, question for you, Omar and Odfell: which upcoming MCU Disney Plus TV show will be better than Loki? Armor Wars, Secret Invasion. Any other you can think? I think What If is going to be one of my favorites. What If was one of my favorite comics growing up, and I think that's going to be the last time we see Chadwick play the role of T'Challa, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna sob.
That's going to be hard to watch. Especially at the very end when they dedicate the whole thing to him and crying like a freaking kid. What about you, Odfell? What are you looking forward to the most?
I think I'm gonna really like What If, but I'm most excited for Miss Marvel right now because Miss Marvel's not only gonna bring Kamala into the MCU, it's got to at least address the Inhumans, and it's going to tie into the Marvels. It has to, because the Marvels is going to be her, Carol, and Monica. So I think I'm most excited for that one right now, just because I'm really curious what it's going to bring. I don't know how they're going to do the Terrigen Mist thing, and all around, I'm just really excited to see her brought to life.
And she looks really cute in that outfit. That is one of those comic outfits that you're like, yes. Like with Kang, you're like, I guess he could be Kang. He's got purple on. So with her, you're like, oh my gosh, they got that right. That looks so good. Like Iron Man.
Yeah.
Granted, easier costume to cosplay as than Iron Man.
Yeah, I do hope we get her homemade burkini outfit at least once, but I do love the super high-tech, perfectly accurate one that we saw the leak of.
Oh, dude, yes, love it. And that leak wasn't even supposed to go out. I know Disney was all pissed off about that too.
We haven't even gotten a trailer yet, really.
No, I'm surprised because it's coming out this year.
I believe it's right after What If and before Hawkeye, if my memory serves me correct. I could be wrong.
And that's right. I forgot about Hawkeye. That's the other movie too. That
I am looking forward to that. But I'm more hyped for Ms. Marvel.
Well, especially after what's it called? Black Widow, right? We know that my girl Florence Pugh is gonna be showing up in there, so I'm excited for that.
Yeah, that's gonna rock.
Oh God, yeah. Just to see her again. Yes. Leo, what are you asking, buddy? What was the first movie that Terrence Howard was in? I don't know, dude. I remember him in Hustle and Flow, and what was that movie Spark? I think.
Searches his IMDb.
I don't know. Hustle and Flow is the first movie I remember him in. That song is still one of my favorite. Omar, read my Q&A. Don't start with me. Don't. The Inhumans are coming. Said no one ever. Sadly.
They have a second shot. I hope they don't address the first shot. But
yeah, I hope that's not one of their multiverses either. I'm only interested in Hawkeye for Haley. Yeah, I don't blame you. Oh yeah, wait a minute. I forgot about She-Hulk getting her own.
Yeah, that one's not. That was a ways off though. But I am very excited for She-Hulk.
I'm excited for more Florence Pugh, but it's dumb to blame Hawkeye for Natasha's death. It is. Oldfell, you need to come back on Friday to review Space Jam 2 with Omar to give him a reason to watch it. First of all, I haven't even seen the first Space Jam. Have you seen Space Jam?
I think I saw it once.
Okay, you at least have seen
someone was like, "You should see this," and I don't remember pretty much anything from it. But I also have no desire to go see it. So,
I mean, it's cool that it speaks for a generation, but it just wasn't for me, man. I mean, Sure. Oscar Isaac is Moon Knight. All in. Yeah, dude, that guy can play anything. I love that.
I'm excited.
I like that. It is. It's weird that we're how many years into the MCU now? When was Iron Man 1? Was it 2006?
Yeah, I think the 10 years was Infinity War. So at this point, we're probably at 13 or 14 years.
13, 14, almost 15 years. And I'm still get excited about this stuff. Omar, I haven't seen the first Space. That's right. Hang strong, Sarah. We ain't watching Space Jam just because a bunch of millennials. Is that who grew up watching Space Jam?
All I know is everyone was really thirsty for Lola. That's all I took away from it.
Yeah, I remember, and then a lot of people were complaining about not sexy Lola in the new movie. Tom, that's right. Old folks assemble like us. No Space Jam. Omar, I know you love Busick Perez Avengers run. Yeah, by far, the Kang Dynasty is my favorite storyline of Avengers of all time. You think they'll do Avengers Forever type of story? Probably not for a while, but absolutely, they have to. They have to. Oh, 2008. Thank you, Chris, for. Okay, so it was 2008. So you're right. Yeah, we're at the 13. Right, math is hard.
Math is too hard, but I'll agree that it's 13.
Maybe. I'm late to the party. What was the overall rating for Loki? This lady gave it a 6.5.
6.5 for me.
6.5. I gave it an 8.5. I enjoyed it more, surprisingly. Dude, Oldfell, have you seen Shadow and Bone? It's a great show.
My friends keep telling me to watch it. I'm trying to work my way through rewatching Sailor Moon right now, but it's on my list. I've heard it's great. I've heard the trilogy of books is also really good, so definitely on my list.
Be good, Maximus. Be good. Be good, brother. Has Oldfell cosplayed as Natasha, Black Widow, or Barbara Gordon? Could be the hair. Maybe that's what they're asking.
I want to do Barbara, but I haven't found the right cowl. Once I find the perfect cowl, I will do it. I'm just very picky, and I don't know how to do rubber work enough to make it. And then Natasha, I recently did cosplay Natasha, so definitely check that out.
Oh, I had the pictures last week.
Yes.
Or when did we do the review? Last Friday? Saturday? Sunday?
So recently.
We did a review. She had pictures. She's on Instagram at, what is it again? Oddfell?
I'm on Instagram at Oddfell. It's just this without the cross through the O. And I want to do a comic version of her at some point, but I haven't gotten around to it yet. So definitely check it out, though.
What's up, T2 Comic Reviews, Halls, and Games? How's it going, brother? Has been a minute. Dude, what's up, Martin? What would you rate it out of 10, Martin? We gave it a 6.5 and an 8.5 out of 10. You can guess as to who gave it what. And I'm usually the one that is a harsher reviewer. Oldfell came in swinging strong. Would you be happy if they made Kamala a mutant instead of an Inhuman, huh? That would be an interesting take.
I'd be okay with it because after watching Marvel Rising and seeing the treatment of turning Squirrel Girl from a mutant to an Inhuman, it really is a workable change. Like, if they were able to do that and have it flow, I feel like they could do it the other way if they really wanted to. So I think it's just going to depend on what they really want to do, because whichever one comes first, the other one's going to feel very similar. So they're just really going to have to juggle how they want to bring them both into the MCU.
All right. Good answer. I'd give it an 8 out of 10 from my buddy, Omni Buddy. And a 7.5 out of 10 from Martin. Are my comments coming up? Let me see, man. Sometimes YouTube automatically blocks these things, and I don't know if Michael's still playing moderator or not. I don't see your comments, brother. At this time, I just want to remind everybody to hit that like button. We're going to start wrapping up here soon. 6 out of 10, great concepts and actors, but the pacing and emotions didn't hit it for me. Fair enough. I thought the Loki ending was great. You just want to see him in jet skis, right?
I do.
Who doesn't want to see that? The ending of season 2 better be Mobius away with jet skis. I thought the Loki ending was great, but do you think that this episode might be confusing for the non-comic book watcher? I mean, it would be as confusing as Planet of the Apes ending, right? And I'm sure by now every Muggle has a comic book friend or family member that they can just text or call up like, hey, man, real quick, what's that statue mean, dude? Because I'm confused as hell. And then, us comic book people are like, oh, shit, I got this. You got 5 minutes or 10? So
I think it could be a little confusing, but he literally said, like, some of my versions are evil, and then at the end we see a statue of him. So I feel like even if you don't know it's Kang, you're like, something's wrong.
Right. Yeah, good point. 2 Lokis out of 10. Jesus Rivera. Not a fan, huh? Oh, it fell out like Sailor Moon, but that handling of Sailor Uranus. What they do to my girl. That's my favorite Sailor Scout.
I haven't run into her and Crystal yet. Do they make them like cousins again? Because I'll sob. I'll sob.
I forgot about the cousins thing until my wife was rewatching it with my youngest daughter. They're watching the Japanese cut where, you know, they're just lovers and not cousins. And I was thinking, how did they even pull that off? Like, cousins are okay to be that close and touchy, whatever. 8 out of 10 from Greg. Yeah. Oh, 8 out of 10 from 10, but I hate having to wait for next season. Next season hasn't even started filming. We don't know anything yet.
I bet it's after Quantumania. Like, I bet it's literally probably 2023, if not later.
Well, we know that Loki is set to appear in the Doctor Strange movie, the Multiverse of Madness. So, hey, that's cool. Owen Wilson shirtless on a jet ski. Give me that sexy hand. You are in Alabama. Well, I'm in Kentucky. It's still kind of weird, brother. I'm curious how they will bring in the mutants like Wolverine or Apocalypse, since a big part of their story revolves around being very old. Around them being very old. Well, maybe that picture of Hugh Jackman, you know, trolling us with Kevin Feige isn't really trolling. Because this, like, if you go back and listen to our thoughts and theories, like, this opens up the possibility of the X-Men movies from the Fox line being part of this multiverse, and then maybe one time these multiverses are going to cross. This is my crossing.
Yeah, part of me wants them to leave past franchises in the past, but I wouldn't mind homages made. Like, I don't necessarily want them to keep a lot of the actors from Fox. I just want a fresh start. Same with Fantastic Four.
I do too.
But I would absolutely love if we got like love paid to things like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, you know, Jessica Alba's era Fantastic Four, maybe Hugh Jackman is Wolverine,
well, okay,
things like that.
Let's not get crazy, old fella. We don't need Jessica Alba's era Fantastic Four.
She was pretty. I would like to see her.
Okay. Yes, she's really pretty. But oh man, can you imagine if we got Chris Evans back as Human Torch and Cap? Dude,
if they're like small little Easter eggs or homages, I'd be here for it. I just don't want it to feel so clubbed over the head with all these like early 2000s movie references, but I think it would be cute if they like did kind of, you know, wrap it all into we are one Marvel Universe, you know, type thing.
Okay, we'll take a couple more questions and then wrap it up. Is Jessica Jones in an upcoming? I haven't seen Jessica Jones in anything, honestly.
Well, Daredevil might come back, but that's the only one from the Netflix that I've seen anything about.
My buddy Joe says same, wants a total recast. I think the recast has to happen, right? But again, like we said during our Black Widow, I think if they recast, they're going to go a completely different way with Wolverine. They have to. Just it can't be the same type of Wolverine that we've seen from the Fox X-Men movies. Are you going to go back to what's that?
Sorry, I want short, grungy Wolverine. I don't want heartthrob Wolverine.
So I interviewed Chris Claremont, and his favorite actor for Wolverine was Bob Hoskins, because Bob Hoskins has been gone for a long time. And I was like, really, Bob Hoskins? And he was like, yes. And he was calling me out. He's like, you know what? He told me the movie to watch, and I watched it. I'm like, oh my God, he's right. Bob Hoskins was awesome. He was kind of scary. Okay. Omar, are you going to go back to, was it really that bad if Amanda came back? Yes, of course. She is on maternity leave. And she started a new job, so she's super busy, and mad love and respect to her, so she can take as much time as she wants to. And Oldfell is always welcome back. If she wants to come back and review What If with me, or what's the next movie? Shang-Chi, I think Shang-Chi is fall. Yeah, I think that's next. I want to say August, but I could be wrong. That might be too soon. I can't believe I'm calling him Shang-Chi. I've been calling him Shang-Chi for 30 plus years. And then one trailer had everybody talking, and I'm like, well, I guess I better start calling him Shang-Chi. I don't want to get canceled. Dancing. Oh, dude, Gwen. Dancing Wolverine. Yeah. Is that guy still around? I think Punisher's also rumored to make it into the MCU. I would love that. That dude killed it, man. What's his name? Brad. I cannot remember that dude's name. Is Florence Pugh going to be in Hawkeye because of the post scene in Black Widow? That's what we're thinking. I'd like to see that. Shia LaBeouf is Wolverine. Really, dude? Raphael? No. Shia LaBeouf is nobody.
As far as troll acting choices that actually would work out, the people saying Daniel Radcliffe aren't totally wrong. Like, if you've seen, I forget what the movie's actually titled, but the Gun Hands movie where he's got his hair. I was like, you know what? He might actually pull off a Wolverine. I just don't know if I'd be able to get past Daniel Radcliffe being Wolverine.
Jimbo? Gumbo? What the hell was that movie? It was something Bo.
Guns
I don't
Akimbo?
know. Guns Akimbo, maybe? Bring back Best Venom, Topher Grace. What is with this casting, guys? Topher Grace. Oh, that guy. Florence Pugh, though. She is confirmed. Do you guys watch Veronica? I haven't seen Veronica. Vin Diesel is Wolverine because those stupid memes, I swear. Yes. Did you watch? My wife and I just watched this today. The Deadpool reacts to the Free Guy video with Korg. What a sneaky way. That's our first official Fox MCU thing.
Yeah, and I honestly really liked it. Like, he and Taika have good chemistry, so I was like, I like this. Okay, let's go.
I want to see Deadpool in the Guardians of the Galaxy. And that's it for tonight, everybody. Thank you so much to my co-host, Oldfell. Where can people find you when you're not hanging out with me, mapping X-Men comics and reviewing comic book related movies?
Yeah, thanks for having me back. So I am on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, Vero, TikTok, just about, and YouTube, pretty much every social media platform as Oddfell. And then you can also find me on Twitter, Oddfell with a 0. It is different. The rest are O's though. So yeah, I'm pretty much everywhere. I post cosplay stuff, tutorials, comic related videos, action figure related videos, all kinds of stuff. So definitely go check it out.
All right. Thank you so much. And yes, everybody should go and check out her stuff. She's a wonderful cosplayer, super smart when it comes to X-Men comics in general, and all around good lady. So everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to hit that like button. And yeah, I'd love to come back to do this again. Maybe we should do it for What If or whatever the next movie is, Shang-Chi, whatever comes next. Yeah, you're always welcome back, please. And we're still trying to find a date for Bat My X. I think might be the end of the month. So look, you're already getting some followers. Sarah's already following you. So there you go.
Well, thank you.
We are on Patreon and on Spreadshop. Great ways to support the channel if you can do so. That's all in the description of the video. Thank you, everyone. Hope you had fun. And leave the comments down below to let us know what you thought of Loki, what you expect to see in season 2. And more importantly, what's your favorite color? You go first. Ladies first.
My favorite color is green.
Really? That's my favorite color. I thought you were going to go with red because... Anyway, go figure. Everybody, have a good night, good evening. Stay safe. Much love.